Hello everyone, and welcome back to another R tutorial video. And in this video I want to discuss tmap, wrapping up our discussion on the style parameter and the end parameter, and going through a couple of examples of how these things work. So in the previous video, we talked about the 6 most commonly used options for the style parameter, which, to sort of recap what that does, style is the parameter that controls the type of classification that is going on under the hood when you use color to drive, or sorry, when you use data to drive color in tmap. And this style parameter works in conjunction with the n parameter. And the n parameter controls the number of classes. Right, that's the only function of the n parameter, is it lets you tell the style parameter, okay, apply the equal type of classification, which gives each class equal range from the data set, and give me out, say, 8 classes. And then that will work with the palette parameter to generate a color palette, and then you will eventually end up with the map. So let's go ahead and walk through a couple of quick examples of changing the style and changing the number of classes, and just kind of compare what they look like. So we're going to go with map underscore, let's do rent again. Rent, and we'll do SD. So as always, we start off with tm shape, and then we pass in the shape parameter, which tells us what we are actually, data we're actually going to use. We're going to use the blocks again. I'm basically replicating the code from above, and we're going to use the blue-green color palette. tm polygons, which allows us to generate polygons which have both the fill and the border. And we're going to drive the color parameter with the percent renter occupied. So that's the number, that's the percentage of occupancies that are currently under renter. And we're going to use the palette BUGN. So this looks exactly like what we did before. But what we're going to do differently is we're going to do style equals, and then we're going to do SD in quotes. So this is going to do a 5 class, because the default for n is 5. This is going to do a 5 class standard deviation classification mapped in the blue-green color scheme. So if we run this, I think I need to load the packages. Okay. While we wait for that to load the packages, we can now run that code again, and we shouldn't get that error anymore. So let's go ahead and rerun the code. I need to load the blocks data set. New Haven, run those 3 lines of code. All right, so now that we have the data set loaded again, now we can run that. Okay, perfect. So if we plot that, right, you'll see we have, again, it's created the legend in the corner here. We have this nice blue-green color scheme, and you can see that this is based on standard deviation. So let's go ahead and let's do the exact same thing. In fact, we'll actually, just to make sure we don't have any errors, we're going to actually copy, the data, and we're going to say 8. So we're going to add an additional 3 classes. And we do this through the n parameter. Again, the n parameter here is just an integer that dictates the number of classes. So if I set that to 8, and I run that line of code, and I run that line of code, you'll see now that we have 8 classes. And just to sort of allow us to look at both, let's do that one, and then let's do that one. So now we can use the plots tab down here to compare them. So if we go back and forth, you'll see we have 5 classes. Now you'll see we have 8 classes. So that's the way the n parameter works, and you can hopefully see that's how the style parameter works. Just to sort of hammer that point in, let's do one more example using the equal style. So I'm actually going to copy this code because knowing me, I would make a typo. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And then where we have style equals SD, I'm going to change that to style equals equal. And then we're going to map underscore rent underscore equal. We're going to run that line of code. Run that line of code. So rather than looking at it in the markdown, I'm just going to pop these over here so we can compare them. So this one is the equal, and you can see here that each one of the classes, the range in that class is equal. So each of these have a range of 18.93%. And so if we toggle back and forth, you can see that even though the number of classes are the same, you can see that the distribution of the colors is quite different, meaning different census blocks ended up in different classes, which is exactly what you would expect from different classification approaches. So hopefully this made sense. Hopefully you understand what this n parameter does. Hopefully you understand what these style parameters do and what the different options mean. And again, there are a lot more options for style than the 6 that I covered in the last video, but these are the ones that I think are probably the most widely used. So if you have any questions, please go back, rewatch the parts you're confused about, and as always, please reach out. Thank you.